Okay, in this video, I'm going to make this render right here. I haven't made it yet, so I don't know what it looks like, but I'll put a picture up or video, whatever I make when it's done. But here's the idea. I was looking through some of my old artwork, not that old, just earlier this year. I think what I want to do here is something similar where it's like a big floating temple kind of structure in the middle, and then instead of having it in the sky, I think I want this to be in like some surreal, otherworldly kind of realm, maybe a bit spacey, maybe some water, I'm not really sure, but that kind of thing where it's like in some other realm type thing. I don't really know what this is going to look like yet, but I kind of have an image in my head a little bit, so hopefully I'll just be able to make that and kind of show you what I mean. Now, on YouTube, I'll have the desktop orientation of this, but I think what I'm going to do right now is make the Instagram version. So this will be 16:9 vertical instead of horizontal. And then later, probably off camera, I'll just change the aspect ratio to be sideways. Okay, let's start by, I might use some of the assets I've made already, or maybe not, we'll see. But let me just start with some placeholder objects in here. So I want it to be like kind of a tower. So we'll just start with a cube, I guess. And I should probably map out things in like roughly the right dimensions or the right proportion and scale. So let's move this back. I think I want this to be animated, so I'm gonna have the camera kind of moving forward a little bit like that. So I'll just give this I'll just put it right there for now. It'll be fine. This can be like that big, and then there can be some like other stuff going on, maybe kind of like this, where it's this type of shape where it's like kind of incrementally getting smaller on the top and bottom, something like that. Except imagine this is like a finished temple thing and not just a bunch of cubes. But this will just give me an idea of where to start. So that's going to go there, and then I need to kind of position the camera to see this nicely. 24 millimeters is usually what I start with. It just depends on the vibe you want, but that's just kind of like a very natural looking focal length. So I'm going to rotate it like, do I want it 45 degrees like this? Yeah, I'm feeling this more. It doesn't really matter at this point because there's no lighting, but something like that. And then let's do this. Let's bring in some pillars. Should I make some, or should I just bring some in? Let's just bring some in. I don't really want to make any right now. I'll just search pillar, and I'll just drop in one of these ones that I made. Okay, so that's there. Let's go back to the UV editor. And then I think what I want to do, I'll probably do modeling here, and then kind of fill it out with pieces I've already made. But the main structure will be kind of something new. So I'm just finding references right now just for the kind of style I want to go for. I'm just going onto Google, typing in different types of temples. So just literally searching ancient temple, ancient Hindu temple, Dark Souls temple. I kind of like this. Having a bunch of really small windows might be really cool. So I could try that. And then maybe kind of putting that onto this type of shape. Let's just run with that. So I think this was kind of doing this kind of thing. So I'll just kind of copy whatever's going on there. I don't need to be super accurate here, so I'm just adding edge loops, beveling that edge loop to kind of just do things like this. And then let's just take these. I guess I could turn on actually I'm not going to turn on screencast keys because sometimes it makes things glitch out. Let me Alt E and extrude faces along normals, and that lets you extrude faces outwards, like right there. Maybe I don't need to go too crazy with this. Something I liked on this one that I made too a while ago is these pillars here. So it's like this ledge sticking out, and then pillars kind of coming down off that ledge, and then it goes into another ledge at the bottom. So it's kind of like a section in the middle that is extruded inwards like this. This might be cool. And then we could fill that out with pillars maybe. Let's try that. I think this is too tall too, so I'm just gonna lower that to like that big, and then we can figure it out from there, but it doesn't really matter at this point. The main objective right now is just get something that looks kind of cool. So let me do that and just kind of speed through this. So I'll just put this in here. This thing comes with a texture, so I might use that. Might not, but right now, let me just kind of adjust the proportions of this. So I'm going to scale this. Let's do it on median point, SZ.5. Because it just looks, when I stretch it out, it just looks kind of weird. So I'll just SZ.5 and just kind of move this into place. Right, there we go. Okay, let's array this. So array, and I am in Blender 4.0. Okay, let's apply scale, increase this to an offset of like 2 maybe. I think that'll be fine. So it's like that much space between them. And we can kind of just pull this in as necessary. That might actually line up pretty good. In fact, that might be perfect. Yeah, cool. Okay, now to get this around the outside, I'm going to put the cursor here. So Shift S, cursor to selected on this middle thing. I'm going to take those pillars and then change my transform pivot point to the 3D cursor. And then I'm just going to hit Alt D, R, Z, 90, all in one action. And then that way, if you hit Shift R, it just repeats the last action. So if you do those all separately, like Shift D, click, R, 90, click, it's 2 actions, but if you do it all in one, you can actually repeat last action and do all that and just Shift R to repeat the last thing you did, which is very handy. Or just, doesn't really matter what you do, just manually get pillars all the way around. Doesn't really matter how. Okay, that's there. I want a bevel on this. So let's take this, and this. Get all this stuff like this. And I guess it didn't want to do the top one either. That's kind of annoying as well, but whatever. Just manually control click through here to kind of get it to follow where my mouse is going. Okay, let's bevel this so I can kind of just get some free detail in here. So control B with those edges, bring up the bevel menu. Let's go custom. Just draw some like squiggly line in here. It doesn't really matter what happens here as long as there's something going on. And I just realized that I don't think I applied the scale. So I'm actually going to undo that, apply scale, do it again. It should still be saved. Looks like it is, so that's fine. Nice. All right, and there's a starting point, right? And I can, do more detail in here, add doorways, add staircases later, but the main thing is, like, let's get the outside shape kind of there so I can see, like, an idea of where I want this to go. And I might duplicate this up. I'm pressing Alt-D on that one, but I'm not sure if I need to. And I might just scale this by, like, 0.8, maybe 0.85. I just kind of drop it on top of itself. And then actually maybe do another one where I'm going to hit Alt-D again, bring it down, throw it right there, delete this. And then let's just drop some kind of piece on here. I'm going to take one of the free temple pieces I gave away. This is from a video called just modeling temple assets in Blender of just me making these. And you can get this back for free there if you want as well. But let me just drop one of those in because I don't really want to model this that much. But I might layer it in with some other stuff so it looks a little bit different, so it's not the exact same. Basically just put this thing right here. And now just make it like bigger. So S, Shift Z, make it a thick one, and just kind of chuck that here. I think I can delete 2 pillars off here and just have this in the middle. And I'm kind of speedrunning this a little bit because I don't want to lose this idea. Or not lose the idea, but lose the motivation for this idea. So I'm kind of going as fast as I can so I don't like lose hope. Because the toughest part of this is always the beginning, when you can't like see it looking good yet. It's always hard. So I need to get past that stage as quickly as possible. Let me take this right here. Let's maybe expand this selection until I can't do it anymore. Yeah, something like that is just going to be fine. Basically, I'm just trying to make it not look like the free pack that a ton of people use, because a lot of people use this, but it's fine. Okay, rotate this. I'm doing that same thing. Select Alt-D, RZ, 90, all in one action, and then Shift-R to just repeat, because my cursor, my transform pivot point is still 3D cursor. Cursor's still in the middle. If I rotate 90 degrees from the cursor in the middle, it's just going to rotate it around this way like this. Okay, so that's going to be fine for now. I might this doesn't really make any sense, but I might Alt-D and then like flip it this way and like put it there for now. I might change that later, but whatever. Now I have to decide what texture do I want on here. So I might link it to this one, Control L material, which is the free temple pack that I gave away. I like this one better, so I'm going to stick with that. And then the other thing too is these need to be unwrapped, so to cube project. Let's just make sure that gets scaled up. I should adjust the lighting in here too, because it's kind of hard to make a proper assessment of this in this lighting because it's just gray. So I think I'm going to want a spotlight because I want this to be very surreal, and spotlights are going to make that much easier to make it look surreal because it's going to be like very directional, very intense lighting, intense shadows because it's like very concentrated. But so yeah, let's just throw that in there. So again, it does not need to be realistic. It just needs to be cool, and spotlights look cool. So I'm going with that. And let's just throw that there. So you can't see much, but I think once I throw volumetrics in here, so let's just throw a cube in here. My viewport compositor has a glare node, but I think it's glitching out and it's like way too intense for some reason. I'll try and fix that. But anyways, that's going to go there. Display as bounds. Let's go to object, new texture, delete this, volume scatter into the volume, density 0.01, scroll in and out on the viewport to refresh it. The reason it looks like this is because my camera view distance is only 100 meters. So let's increase that to 1,000, maybe more, maybe 10,000. Doesn't really matter. And then that way I can actually see what's going on. Let's increase the anisotropy because this is going to look cool. And this will help me make a better judgment of how dense I need to make it, because it kind of makes it look a little less dense when you turn it up. Anyways, density, let's turn that up to like down rather to like 0.05-ish. I want it a little dreamy, like I said, maybe a kind of moonlight vibes a little bit. So I'm going to make it a little bit cool, the light color, like slightly blue, slightly green, something like that. And I'm going to switch out like the roof here. I don't really like this, but I'll leave it for now. I want a lake in here. So let me do some water. I could drop in my pre-made water, but I'll just quickly show you how I'm going to do this from scratch. So let's just drop this in here like this. And that's just a cube stretched out. Apply scale, new texture. And let's make roughness 0. Let's make color can stay that way. Transmission up. That's water right there already, but there's more I can do. Let's take a noise texture. Let's run that into a bump node. Okay. Noise texture into the height of the bump node. That goes into the normal. And when you see me doing this, what I'm doing is pressing Alt and then right click on the mouse. And when you drag between two nodes, it'll just automatically connect them. It works for some nodes and doesn't work for other nodes. Like if I try and do it on this, it like is going to do something stupid, like plug this into the strength when it should go into the height. But if you do it from any bump map or normal map will work. Displacement will work. Plugging volume in will work. So it's like a nice little shortcut for certain things, but not other things. You'll have to figure it out and play with it. What's important here is getting this to actually line up. So how come I don't see anything? Maybe the scale is off. So let's adjust the scale. Oh, it's way too big. Okay, so there we go. If I increase that, let's do, I don't know, 155. And let's decrease the strength to like 0.1 on both of these. And maybe let's increase the scale to 300. Seems fine. I might go to material preview, but just on this because material preview is kind of laggy and annoying. But if you just isolate one object with the slash or question mark key, same key, but just the / key, and then material preview, then it's much less annoying to work with. And then to get this to move, here's how you do it. I'll just really quickly show you. I learned this from Ian Hubert, but if you just bring up the texture coordinate mapping node, that's by pressing Control T on the noise. I'm sure you know how to do that, but just in case. And if you press Control T, nothing happens. Enable Node Wrangler in the preferences. So like edit preferences, add-ons, Node Wrangler. It's already installed in Blender. You just turn it on. And then when you click a node, press Control T, you'll get these. Okay, so let's go object coordinates. Actually, it doesn't matter. That's generated as fine for this. It doesn't matter. So we'll leave it on there. And then I need to... So if I want to animate this water, the obvious way is you animate like the X location. But it looks kind of weird when you do that sometimes. This might work, but I think the way Ian Hubert showed it, maybe it's changed in an update, but I don't think it is. The best way I think is you just rotate it 45 degrees on the Y rotation or X rotation, and then move it upwards on the Z location. Maybe you don't have to rotate it 45 degrees. I'm not actually sure. Let me try it without that, and let's see what happens. So let's go timeline. We'll go Z location, insert keyframe, move forward, insert keyframe. We'll go to the graph editor and then just get these menus out of the way. Click this for this to show up. And, I didn't actually keyframe it. So let's just go like that. Okay, cool. Select these 2 points on the graph and then hit Shift E, linear extrapolation. That means that it'll just keep extending out on each side. It's way too much, so let's just bring it down. Now that actually looks kind of cool, but it looks a little bit strange too. So if you rotate it on the Y-axis or the X-axis, it'll just look a little bit more directional. I'm not exactly sure why that happens now that I'm thinking about it, because anyway, I don't really care. That works, and I'm going to do it. So anyways, I learned this from Ian Hubert's Patreon. Go check it out. It's actually very good. I'd highly recommend it. Okay, so anyways, water is now flowing. You can just copy this setup if you want. Okay, anyways, just some slight movement is fine. Doesn't really matter like how you do this, but just get it to like kind of move around a little bit. Like I said, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna animate this, so I just want to get that out of the way so I don't have to worry about it later. But I need to focus on scene building right now. That's the most important thing, is getting the overall environment to just look cool and like look like something that is actually going to be an artwork and not just kind of empty garbage. Let's drop an empty in here. So just empty cube, scale that up. So just this is doing nothing right now, but if I parent all of these things to this empty, Control P, keep object transforming, or keep, yeah, object keep transform, this one. That means I can just select this and just like move it around however I want, but they're all still separate objects on their own, so just easier to work with that way. I think a background would be cool. I think like a space star background would actually be kind of sick. So let me try that. Let's just get a plane in here. So the way I make skies usually is just drop a picture of a sky in the back, and this is going to be no different. So except it's just going to be space instead of like a regular sky. Okay, so here's my Unsplash downloads folder. It's kind of a mess. I've just kind of chucked everything in a big pile here, but there's this picture of space in here, and I'm going to use this. It doesn't really matter what colors are in here because I can adjust that in Blender or Photoshop or whatever. But yeah, this is going to go into just going to drop that right in here. And then let's run this into the emission color, increase the strength, and let's just scale this up. I can't see this, so let's just increase the view to 10, whoops, whatever that is, meters. And then I think I want this going into the alpha as well because it's very, very bright, and just doing this will make it look really nice. But yeah, very, very surreal, spacey, cosmic, ancient, like I don't know what this is, but it's going to be cool. Just wait. All right, so apply scale, unwrap this, and let's just drop this in, I don't know. And let's increase the size of this water so that it just kind of goes off into the distance. And then bring this up, and then bring the camera up, like rotate it upwards. Maybe increase the scale of this. But yeah, that's going to be cool. I like this. Let's take this, make the color black so it doesn't reflect any weird light. I don't think it was, but just in case. And then that's going to go there. And then I don't think I like the colors here. Let's see what I can do here. Let's just take a hue saturation, drop that. That's pretty cool, actually. But I want to mix color, set it to multiply, and then maybe make it like a little warm. There's a lot I could do here. I like these really muted kind of colors, like not having it super, super saturated. Like that. That's pretty cool. I like that right there. Yeah. Okay, anyways, let's just keep it moving here. Okay, I want not just one structure, but a few different structures, kind of all related to each other, and having like different gardens or trees or like things on them. So let's do that. Okay, let's take this and these pillars here and just object data, join, there we go, origin to geometry, and now we have the thing. And I think a tree should go in here. So let's do that. Let's open up Botanic. This may or may not be the final thing. Might be a placeholder. I'm not sure. Put it there. And let's just kind of go from there. This is in the way. I don't really like this one, but okay, it's fine. Placeholder. It's okay. And this needs to be... that might be cool, like having it kind of smaller. Yeah, okay. Maybe more of these. Maybe they can be floating, but they don't need to be. Okay, let's see. I need just more ideas. Let's do a test render to see where we're at. Definitely want to do more work on the main thing, but I also just want more stuff happening with like things going on around this. Maybe some rocks, maybe some more natural elements, maybe a landscape in the background, like some mountains. In this one, there were like floating bits of debris everywhere. That could be cool. Maybe some floating pathways that we're standing on looking at this. Maybe clouds. Lots of stuff to try, but I'm just kind of throwing all these ideas that I'm just randomly having out loud, just so you can kind of get a sense of like how my brain is working through this problem of solving this. Let's do, I don't know, bridges. Let's make some bridges. So let's take this, maybe scale it in edit mode with correct face attributes on. Scale it by like 0.5 or whatever that was. And then let's isolate this so I'm not distracted. Alt D this over here. For some reason, I can't use mirror modifiers in animations, at least in the last version of Blender. I don't know about this one, but those always glitch out for me, so I'm just gonna have to mirror it by hand. Something that always confused me when I first started is like when you're modeling stuff and putting pieces together, how far away are you supposed to put them? Is it supposed to be like, is it supposed to be intersecting with this a little bit, or is it supposed to just barely line up, or is it supposed to be like a millimeter away? Like, how does all this stuff line up in space? What's the correct way? And I think the answer is it does not matter. Whatever, as long as it looks cool, it does not matter. At least for what we're doing here. Let's do this and extrude this again, and then like extrude this outwards. Yeah, and then let's take this and bevel these. Apply scale first. Okay, cool. Maybe it can be a roof here. Maybe not. I'll just put it there and try it. And then link material to this. And these need to be apply scale, cube project, scale it up, rotate 90. And this, maybe this can just be, yeah, let's do that. Just shrink that in a little bit there. And I think I need to scale this up on the UV map a little bit. At least, let's take a, select this. I'm just pressing L to grab that, by the way. And then let's invert this, cube project this, scale it up, just so that it's kind of like, yeah, this is not the best texture to use because there's like tiles in here that don't really make sense, but I don't care. It's gonna be fine. That's fine. It doesn't matter. You're not gonna see that, so who cares? Okay, let's get out of here and just place this around. Maybe shrink it a little, drop it right here, and we can have like little things kind of just connecting all these little things here. Quote me on that. Little things connecting these little things. Anyways, this goes here. This goes here. Kind of looks like it makes a bit of sense. This could actually be here. And then we want one here. What else am I going to do? This is a little weird having this dark chunk right here, but I think it's going to be okay. Again, that I'll figure it out later. This is a little bit strange here with all these like different pathways now. I'm not really sure how I feel about that, but I think maybe it's fine. Let's increase the spot size maybe. I'm not super sure about this yet. Let's delete the second one and just worry about one light for now. And let's just try moving it around like this. Let's try making the color different, so maybe a little bit warm. That's kind of cool actually. I like that. Yeah. Because it's kind of like the background color now, or this yellow background-ish, instead of being blue cold. Let's do some more work on this middle thing maybe. I'll just come back to this shit at the bottom later, but let's worry about this for right now. Let's get rid of this like I said I was going to, and then just drop one of these in here. And actually, I might double this thing up like I said I was going to do as well. Pull it up to like here, and then like put one of these guys in here. This is kind of a messy way to do it, but something like that. I might want like some big shadow in the foreground, so let's try taking this and duplicating the entire thing, and maybe just put that like, ooh, that's cool. Okay, yeah, this is cool. So let's do this where it's like a bunch of these, and maybe even shrink them down where it's like some really tall, thin ones. Yeah. Okay, so that can go there. And then the camera's going to be like moving forward through this. Yeah, okay. I like this. And that gives us like a really nice frame around everything too. Because like I feel like I have a limited amount of creative energy, and that just takes like doesn't really take creative energy, it just kind of takes like just do it. Whereas building the scene and like making it look cool and interesting, that takes up like a bit more of like of that creative side, you know, which I don't always have, so it'd be nice to get that out of the way right now. All right, that's fine. Now sometimes I just cover stuff like this up with trees. That might work, but it might not, so I don't know. Let's just try, see what happens if I just put more trees in here. This one's a little too orange, I think. It doesn't really go with the other stuff in here. So maybe let's just try finding a slightly different shade like this. This one's a little bit more neutral color. Still a little orange, but should be fine. That does hide that awkward little ledge there and just makes it look a little overgrown, even though it's like, look at what's going on here. It's just a tree intersecting with all this right here. It's fine though. It looks fine. And then if it looks bad, I'll change it. But that is a very easy solution to this problem, and I'll take it. Maybe something up here too, just kind of help the foreground feel a little bit more stuff is going on. Might mess with the camera angle later too. And we need something happening here where it's like, yeah, let's just kind of like, let's drop this lower, the floor. And then let's put more of this stuff in here. Just so it looks maybe flooded, kind of. And like, there's things happening under the surface that you can't really fully see. This feels like the end in Minecraft, kind of. That's the vibe I'm getting a little bit. Okay, let's put this like over here. More trees. Just kind of in the background. I don't really want them silhouetted like that, though. So I guess just kind of put that light again back here. Can't really see it messing anything up though, so I think it's fine. And then let's worry about the animation. So I want the camera moving forward, so let's add a curve. What is it? Path? I mean, I can search for it. Oh, I have to scroll up. Okay, weird. Okay, path. Add that. Copy the location of the camera. That's an add-on that you can enable by default in Blender. I mean, it's installed, but it's not turned on by default. I think the copy attributes menu, and you use it by pressing Control C. Brings this up. So copy location of the camera, copy rotation of the camera, and then just rotate it 90 degrees. And then just take this and then select the path second, Control P, and then just hit follow path. And now the camera will just move forward along that path. If you want it to be faster or slower, go into edit mode on the path and scale it on its local x-axis. So you do that by hitting S, X, and then X again to just follow the direction it's going in. And if you scale this like way up, it'll be going way faster. If you scale it way down, it'll go slower. It might not be the best way to do it. There's other ways to adjust the speed, but that's just an easy, quick way that I found to deal with that. But I think it's going a good speed right now, kind of like this. And I also want to make sure I'm on 30 FPS. Let me do that right now. Switch this to, 30. Let's just see what that is looking like right now. And then I want to play with the rotation here too. So let's go rotation keyframe at the beginning. So R for insert rotation keyframe. Skip to the end, but I actually want this 300 frames long. So let's set this to 300. Go to the end, and then we'll just hit. We'll just rotate it like this. And I know the sky's getting cut off. Everything's messed up here, but it's fine. I'll fix it later. Let's go R again for insert another rotation keyframe. Now we have it moving forward and looking more upwards as it goes along. This is a very easy shot that I use a lot in my renders, but it is effective, so I'm going to use it again here. This is a problem right here, though. The fact that the sky, or the stars in the back, are just getting fully cut off. It's easy to fix, though, so let's just scale or rotate and scale up the plane until it just fits like that. And now, look at that. Works. You want to make sure this is far back enough that it looks like it's really far in the background. If it's too close, it just feels like fake and very close to everything. So what I might do is actually move this back even further than it is already, and then just, of course, scale it back up. But yeah, that'll be fine. Now the viewport compositor is still on, so that I'll take that off now because I think it's actually using glitched values for the glare. This needs like a nice top on it. It just doesn't feel like that cool up here. Duplicate it again. You know, when in doubt, just duplicate the same thing over itself one more time. Just bring that like here. Maybe scale it down. Yeah, that's good enough. I feel like I want more stuff happening in this section right here. It looks a little boring having it like doubled up, tripled up here. Oh, maybe let's do this. Let's grab some. I have these different pillars in here. There's one more pillar in here that I would like to try, and it is this weird. This. It is whatever. There's probably a name for this kind of shape. I don't know what it is, but whatever this shape is, I want to try this. But yeah, let's do like one there, and then maybe like two in the middle. There. I think a lot of these are misaligned, but it's fine. You can't really tell, but it's fine. Okay, so let's do that, and then yeah, let's extrude. Let's object and data. Let's take this and then just pull this outwards. Yeah. Now you can't see what's going on there at all, so I might undo that. Okay, actually this is kind of cool. If you do this, turn on this setting right here, affect only locations, and then scale them outwards. And then that just kind of like pushes them farther apart without scaling them actually. That should be fine though, I think. And then I might drop in some of these other things from this pack. Like I have these other walkways and stuff here which might work. Let's drop this in, like, I don't know. What I really need is like sweeper to come in here, just fill this all with plants. Maybe lower this to like 6. And also maybe let's try adjusting the UV position of this. Maybe scale it by -1, 180 degrees. Maybe rotate it 90. I think it's fine where it is, maybe. Now, I'm kind of deliberately keeping this fairly dull looking, for lack of a better word. Because I do want to crunch this a little bit in post. And by crunch, I mean like use some pretty harsh settings potentially. So I want to allow some space for that to happen. This might be too dark right here for that though. Am I in AGX right now? Let's see. Yeah. I might actually go medium low contrast. Yeah, I'm gonna drop 1 and just run with that because I wanna bring it back in post. And I also think that I should adjust the lighting a little bit more and like try to make it just fit the scene a little bit better, because it is a little bit like just weird and bleak right now. I kind of like that. Let's maybe increase the size to like much bigger, and that right there just kind of makes it feel a little bit more like the stars in the back are just reflecting off of this side more. And it's also adding some light up here, which is nice. I don't want to go too crazy with adding all these different lights coming from different directions, because that will ruin it if I do it too much. But I wonder if I just have this like here. Ooh, like having overhead lighting does look cool. But also I'm not really sure. Let's drop this. I think it's in a pretty good spot, but I just feel like it could just have a bigger, like a nicer impact to it that it doesn't really have right now. Like everything just looks, it could be because I lower the contrast, but everything looks very bleak and just bland. Let's try this. Let's name this main light. Lighty. Okay, and then that, I'll just hide that for a second and then add a new light. Let's go area light, and then let's just make this something. Make it kind of like blue or green or some shit. And then like just put it in here. Ooh, like that is kind of cool. Having it really soft and like just kind of letting the environment seemingly do the work. What if I do both? What if I have main lighty on and this too? What about lowering the intensity? Like instead of 10, maybe let's do 5. I don't know. Or like 3. Or what if it's 3 and then we increase the contrast to base contrast or medium high contrast? Ooh, that looks really cool actually. Yeah, I like that more. Okay, I want the volume to be thicker. Let's do that. Okay, volume. So it's at 0.0025. Let's increase that to 0.05. So double. Oh, sorry. Not, that was a 20x instead of a 2x. Yeah. Now that's still quite thick. So maybe just bring the ceiling of this down. Maybe I don't need to go that high. Maybe don't double it, but just increase it like this. And it should extend decently far out into the distance as well. And this main, not this main light, this overhead light is still in here. Yeah, I like what that's doing. I have to be careful. Like, I talk about this a lot, where the more lights you have in here, the harder it is to manage all of them and make them all look good together. So I am being careful of that. But so far, I think what I've done here is adding positive changes, not negative ones. So it's okay. All right, we should do a test render of this animation. Oh, did I hit F11 instead of F12? I'm going to pause this recording and come back when this is actually rendering. Okay, so off camera, I finished up with, okay, so I just did some other adjustments here. I didn't do that much. I just kind of duplicated some objects that were already there around other places and just tweaked some various settings. The main thing I did, though, was in here. Here is what the final render looks like right now. I did some compositing, which I'll show you in a second. So here's the final look. It's just like 4 seconds or like 1 second of like 30 frames. I didn't render the entire thing, but this is what it's looking like right now if I just pull this up. So it turns out you can actually get a decent color grade in the Blender compositor right now. It was kind of hard to do that before, but with the new update, it's actually much easier. So let me show you what's going on here. It's running through a glare node, first of all. I'll just re-render this and have a still frame that's actually fully rendered so you can see one by one what's happening here. But I'll just go through these one by one. I'll mute them and then just go through it. The first thing that's happening is this glare node. Here's the settings for that. It's actually quite strong in this one. Usually I don't turn it up that much, but that's what it's doing in this one. So when you have a threshold that is really low like this, I noticed that the colors that you get in here are much more intense in the glare node versus if you like add a blur in Photoshop or like a glow layer in Photoshop or something. So that is actually adding quite a nice look to this. I guess this one's kind of unique, and for most scenes I wouldn't use settings that are this high, this intense, but I think it looks nice here. The thing before I forget is I'm using AGX and I've set it to medium high contrast. So the base contrast looks like this if I just mute this as well. So just with those two things, switching it from base contrast to medium high, which in fact quite often is too much, but in this case I think it looks cool, and then having that glare node, that already adds a very nice look to this. Okay, so the next thing that's happening is lens distortion. This isn't that noticeable, but just around the outside edges, that is just going to soften that up a little bit. You can see what that's doing. If you go overboard with this effect, it just ruins it, but just a nice amount is kind of cool. Color balance to just kind of, I don't know, just add a bit more like green and blue hues in here. So on the lift section here, I've just got it hues at 0.5, which is like this part right here, and then it's just turned up a tiny bit. And then on the gain section right here, it's just on the other side, just on the like yellow section, turned up a tiny bit as well. I don't really know if I'm using this properly, but this is what it looks like on full blast. Looks kind of cool. So that is just turned down to like 50% ish. And then, yeah, so there's what that's doing. Not a huge difference, but there is it just adds a little bit of nice color in there, kind of like a color lookup table would kind of. That's running through curves, just making it a little bit brighter in the shadows and also in like the highlights a little bit too. And then the other thing that's happening here is this, which is just a vignette that you can actually do. If you take an ellipse mask, this is just a node you add, run it through a blur node, and then multiply that into the result, you can actually create a vignette in here. And the way this works is you can see this blur node right here. If I just mix this in fully, it's just doing this, and then you add this blur, it just blurs it, multiply it in. In fact, I might actually turn this up to like 350, maybe a little bit more. I guess I can turn the size back up to 1 where it was, or like 0.8 maybe. But yeah, that's how you make a vignette in here, and then you just multiply it in. This is just a mixed color node, switch to multiply, and then just turn down the factor so it's not so extreme. And yeah, I'll probably have it like right there-ish. Just a nice little vignette, not too strong, but that's what that's doing. And that's it. There's not that much going on here. Those are all things that I would normally do in like After Effects, but it's nice to be able to do it in here. And then the nice thing about this is while you're working on it, you can actually enable the viewport compositor. So like in here, I would open a new viewport because this one, the settings are kind of messed up for some reason. But in here, you would just open up a new viewport. You'd go to this drop down here and then just switch the compositor to always. For some reason, it's the glare node is like not showing up properly, so I might just mute that. But other than that, I think everything should work. Yeah, so you can see that's what's nice about this is that glare node. For some reason, I think the mix just doesn't show up in the viewport properly, but all the other things do, which is really nice. So you can actually see what's happening in real time here. Okay, so I'm gonna go render the full animation. The settings I'm gonna use are 200 samples. If I just view the test I did, I'll just expand this so you can actually see what's going on. This is what 200 samples looks like. There's a little bit of flickering in there, but I can just use temporal filtering in After Effects to get rid of that. So that'll just fix any weirdness there. There's not that much, so it should be fine to deal with that. And then other than that, I think everything's pretty good. So yeah, 200 samples will be fine there. We're just denoising it straight in here. And then cycles, obviously, and motion blur is turned on. I forgot I should turn on depth of field. Let me just do that before I forget. So just grab the camera. Sorry, I have overlays off. Grab the camera, Depth of field, let's focus, let's just go 100 meters away. That's where it's going to focus. And then f-stop, we can do like f5, f6, something like that. I'm not even going to test it. I know that's going to be fine. And here is what I'm going to do. I'm going to switch this from, it was on FFmpeg video, but I'm going to switch that to PNG and then just open up the folder. I don't know why it was rendering to this temp folder. I'm just going to render to this project folder. So everything related to this project is in this folder. I already made a folder for test renders, and I'm going to make a new one called final. And then just open that up, hit accept, and then just say keep it on PNG, which just means if I hit render animation, it'll just automatically render a PNG sequence for me, which is super nice. And then I can bring that into After Effects. Okay, so it's rendering right now, and let's see, I think it's around 43 seconds per frame, 300 frames. So it's gonna take like a couple hours, not too long. But I'll come back when this is finished, and I'll just finish it up in post.